Welcome to the first session of this course, Patanjali Meditation. We call it 101. This is for beginners. It's a 16-week course, 1 hour every Wednesday, 6 to 7 p.m. in Houston. And we have about 8 or 10 people who are distant places. And let's see, I see that there is somebody's raising hand. Let's see, can we, anybody on webinar? Okay, we have started late now. I think it should be okay. Yeah. Okay. So this is Patanjali Meditation 101 with 16 weekly sessions of 1 hour each. And the way I have designed it is the first 6 sessions independently have what I call very basic module. So if you are with us for 6 weeks, you learn basics of meditation, and then you can continue at home as far as the daily practice is concerned. But if you want to grasp, I will say, a reasonable amount of learning, because the reason I have 6 weeks is in 6 weeks you will get to know what actually meditation is and how to do it. On average, somebody may take longer, somebody may take less. So that's why I have this 6 weeks period. But then to appreciate in really a good manner and see those benefits, what Patanjali meditation can offer to you, that is about 16 weeks. So it is for you to decide. Some people have opted for 6 weeks course, and they can then change their mind and continue for longer. So we have all kinds of possibilities open. Let's move on, because I like to use uh, some PowerPoint slides. That saves our time. So this is screen sharing mode. Okay. So that was our welcome slide, Patanjali Meditation 101 for beginners. Sorry, we have started a bit late. There was a slight problem of connectivity here, but I think that has been sorted out. So first thing, I want to devote some moments, a small amount of time on nomenclature. What is prevailing in the streets today is there are 2 words, yoga and meditation. By yoga, people generally mean something you do with your body exercise, body postures, and also sometimes they include some breathing exercises. That is basically people do it for betterment of health. So that is what is known today by a majority of people as yoga, and they use the term meditation to be in a kind of meditation, a calm mind. But I just want to point out that in classical Indian philosophy, what is prevalent today as yoga is called Hatha Yoga. And what is called as meditation is actual authentic yoga, because there was an original book with the title Yog Darshanam or Yog Sutra, authored by Patanjali. So you have seen our title is Patanjali Meditation, because we are borrowing the book authored by Patanjali some thousands of years ago in Sanskrit, and that book has title Yoga. So though we are calling it Patanjali Meditation, actually we are getting ideas from Patanjali's book on yoga. So just to show it to you, it is in Sanskrit, just in 4 or 5 sheets of paper. So this is a very small book in 195 short lines. If you write back to back, just 2 or 3 pages probably. but his book is titled Yoga. So actually we are following Patanjali Yoga, but we call it Patanjali Yoga Meditation. So that much about nomenclature. Let's look at it. What is the definition of yoga given by Patanjali? I am minimizing Sanskrit words. I think only in the first session today, I just point out some words. Otherwise, we will not find many Sanskrit words in this course. So Patanjali defines yoga as yoga chitta vetti niyodha. There are four words here, namely yoga, chitta, vritti, niyodha. Their corresponding translation I like to use is yoga is yoga. He is defining that term. Chitta is our mind scan. Something inside. Just imagine we also have a desktop like a computer, and I am always functioning there. So that I call as mind scan or inner mind. We are always observing, and that is the word he is using, chitta. Vritti is anything that appears on it. So like there is a screen behind me. When before you came here, it was a white raw screen. And now certain things, my slides are being projected there. So whatever is coming on the white screen is the vritti, is modified form of the screen. Nirodha is to subdue it. So the definition of yoga by Patanjali is to subdue all that appears on my mind screen, which is called chitta. So like if we try to subdue this screen, projection screen behind me, if we switch off all these things, it will come back to its raw white screen. So that is what Patanjali is saying. His teachings in his book called Yoga is it will empower us to subdue all that is happening in our inner mind. So if we are successful in that, our mind will be blank. Absolutely nothing on that. And that is the state of meditation. That's what Patanjali is teaching us. So don't get confused with the terminology. This is Patanjali Yoga Darshan. I am following. I am trying to give you a message in a most, as I think, is efficient manner, so that if you are walking with me, so this is a talk and walk together in this course, you will learn some basics from this book about very basics of what Patanjali is teaching. Also, we will be practicing it. And then, if you are doing it, of course, we will be meeting here once a week. But I urge you and request you and expect that from you that you will practice at home also, every day a week. If not 7 days a week, try to do it at least 4 or 5 days a week. So this will be 10 to 12, 15 minutes of practice. You must do it at home also, so that the talk and walk go together. Otherwise, you will not appreciate what new ideas I will bring week after week. You have to observe it within you through the meditation practice. Let's move on. Slight philosophical basis of what Patanjali is meaning by chitta and what is me and so on and so forth. So I like to give an example, a thumb in the fist. So that is what is body, mind, and soul. A human being is a composite of, as a conscious being, I am a composite of body, mind, and soul. Body is this visible gross body, a huge structure, but somewhere in our head region, there is a very tiny black hole. It's like a dark cinema hall. So that is what we want to understand. What is it? So that is kind of a replica, a thumb in the fist. So this is thumb, is my soul, my consciousness. That is what truly I am. Body and mind are my instruments, and mind is not this brain, what is in the head. Rather, it is a tiny shell surrounding my soul. My soul is a very tiniest thing. In mathematics, we call it as a singularity. Like in geometry, we draw a point which exists but has no length and width. So something like this, if you can imagine, there is a point like singularity, that is my soul. What is its property? It has consciousness. So it emits light. And that's what make my whole system conscious. Like at this point, I am waving my hands, speaking out. I look like a very conscious being. Because that soul is there, it is using the instruments of body and mind in an intelligent manner. So that is my soul surrounded by a tiny shell, which is what my palm and my fingers make of. That is my mind. So throughout this course, don't be confused mind as the brain. Mind is a very tiny shell, and inner part of this palm, which I am observing, is my chitta. That is what I am observing always. So it's like my mind screen or my desktop, and I am always functioning there like that. So let me read out the words I have written in the slide. I am like a thumb in the fist, somewhere in the head region. The thumb is my soul, enveloped by a shell of mind. That's what fingers and palm constitute. The mind, this shell now, has three components. The innermost is called chitta, mind screen, which I am observing. And in between layer is called memory. That is our storage device, where we store all our past knowledge and also our skills, etc. We have programmed how I am driving a car, how I write, all our signatures are also stored in that middle layer. And then there is an outer layer that is called linkage. He calls it as manas. So there are three Sanskrit terms here: chitta, ahankar, and manas. I will not use again in the future, except because I am so much in the habit of using the word chitta. So sometimes instead of mind scan, I may use the word chitta, and I am sure you will become familiar with that term. Otherwise, many other Sanskrit terms I will not be using after today's session. So the innermost is chitta. I translate as mind scan. The middle layer is ahankar, which is what is my storage device. I have stored all my knowledge and skill and programming. I have programmed several actions of mine. They are stored there. And then outer layer is called manas. I am translating it as linkage. That is what links to the body. So from five senses in the body, I acquire data, information, knowledge that is picked up one at a time by the linkage. It is transferred to the memory device, which is like a projector and also is storing. So it's like a video cassette recorder. It stores the data as well as it projects on my mind screen, and then I say, yes, I am seeing you in front of me. And then I think, I decide, you are my friend, I come closer to you and we shake hands. So that decision making is also happening at the mind screen. Then I decide, if my decision is conveyed outside, it comes back to the linkage device, the outer mind, and then it activates my feet, my hands, and I do action. So basically, body, mind, and soul, I have two instruments of body and mind. The primary purpose is to acquire knowledge from the outside world and then influence the world by action. So incoming is knowledge, outgoing is action, and that's what life is all about. We do it 24 hours. So much so that even we go to sleep, our mind is functioning. We have dreams, and that deteriorates our quality of sleep. We don't have good rest, what nature wants to give us. So this is where Patanjali's teaching is important. So if I am learning meditation, I am learning how to train my mind, how to calm it down. Because in today's world, our mind is hyperactive. We must reduce it And that is what is the objective of this course, how to calm down my mind so that we lead a more natural, more harmonious life, and in this process, I gain authority over my mind. After all, my body, my mind are my instruments. They ought to function the way I want them to function. So, this whole meditation course, as you will see it, it is likely to empower you, to charge your life, to change your life in a drastic manner. But to gain maximum benefit out of this, you must do talk and walk together. And if you don't understand something, at the end of the course, we can mingle here. I will give you enough time. You can ask me. And those who are in the webinar mode, they can write to us by email and we can discuss things further. Let's move on further. Patanjali is a genius. He adds on one more component. He says we are not just body, mind, and soul. There is another hidden domain within us. In Sanskrit term is Pran. Pran has 5 members: Pran, Apan, Vyan, Saman, and Udan. They correspond to basically so many involuntary, non-voluntary forces that are always working in our background. They consist of nervous system, respiratory system, cardiac system, digestive system, and renal system. So these are background forces. They are very vital. If they stop even for a moment, the whole system will collapse and I will die. If not die, I have to be admitted into ICU, isn't it? So they are so vital that they work in the background and we are not even aware of it. Like at this point, I am thinking and speaking, you are listening and making sense out of it, but so many functions are taking place within this system. It's very easy to identify them when you are in deep sleep, when consciously you are not using your body and mind. All that is happening in the system. The pumping heart is causing blood circulation, breathing, and so many things are happening. They are all part of that box which is on the lower side. I have just identified one out of these 5, namely breathing, because Patanjali identifies that is more likely I can influence it slightly compared to heartbeats and many other things. So this is very important. I have drawn certain arrows there. The arrow from body to breathing means body consumes food, etc., and then its essence is going to the breathing domain, all those background forces. The Sanskrit term is anno ve prana. So the food I eat is digested in subtle form, and that is what works as the fuel for that vital forces. I will use the word powerhouse. That is the powerhouse for this whole system. So the powerhouse requires fuel, and the fuel is supplied by the body domain. So there is one arrow going there. Then there is an arrow, vertical arrow, that is notionally positioning this domain of pranic domain somewhere between body and mind. But like nobody can open my head and see where my mind is because that is a subtle domain. Similarly, nobody can, break my body and say that this is where the pranic domain is. It's notional. So it is notionally positioned between body and mind. Those who are familiar with the philosophy, I will just use today only, I am using some Sanskrit terms. Next session onward, no Sanskrit terms. So this is called Annamaya course. What is the body domain? Where the pranic domain is there, that is called Pranamaya course. And then mind will be divided into 2 in the next slide. The outer mind is called Manomaya course. Inner mind is called Vijnanmaya course. If you are familiar with these terms, good enough. Otherwise, no problem. Let's move on. So we are not just body, mind, and soul. Rather, we are body and pranic domain on vital, non-voluntary forces, then mind, and then me, the self, the soul, my true consciousness. Let's move on. Now we are getting into the Patanjali's practice part. So we look at first that meditation is basically an inward journey. So few minutes from now, we will be sitting and in meditation. What would we do? So just look at the outer line, the uppermost line. I have body domain, breathing domain we have already discussed. Now I have broken our mind into two, outer mind and inner mind. It's very simple. As we look at that thumb in the fist, the inner part of the fist is the inner mind. That is where my desktop is lying. That is what I am observing. And outer mind is outer part of the shell, which is what connects to the body domain. So there is nothing new here, but I want to write 5 terms here, and you will see it. There is a purpose for that. These 5 terms will correspond to 5 steps of Patanjali's Ashtanga Yoga. So they will correlate one to one. So we will be easy. It will be easy to understand and to adopt Patanjali's method. I just read out what I am stating here. Meditation is an attempt to bring inner mind, the mind skin, void of any object. It should become blank, empty mind that is void of any thoughts. Meditation is not paying attention to something or being in deep concentration on an object or just being in silence with eyes closed. So in my way of teaching, this is very demanding. Elsewhere, you will see all kinds of meditation, mindfulness, and so on and so forth, where they merely concentrate on their breathing or some other object. But we are going much further inward. We are insisting our mind should be blank, absolutely no object, nothing in mind. It's slightly difficult, more difficult than mindfulness, but the rewards are very of higher order. So you will appreciate it as you get along. Finally, what do I want? I will use this metaphor very often. I want to be in my cave for some time. So as if just look at this soul of mine, as if this is in a tiny cave. The shell I was already talking about, the thumb in the fist, even smaller than that. Just forget about the mind and imagine a small envelope that surrounds only my soul. That is my cave. So objective of my meditation is to disconnect from my mind and spend some moments in my cave. And that is where the challenge comes. I can disconnect from my mind only when my mind screen is blank. Just like you came here driving your car, you wanted to meet me. You cannot meet me if you stay in the car. And if you want to get out of your car, you have to bring your car to a stop situation, isn't it? Then only you can get out of your car. Your car is a wonderful instrument. It covered a distance of several miles, but the last step, you have to get out of your car, and that is what meditation is. Mind is a wonderful instrument, but I must bring it to an absolute blank, inactive state. Then only I can disconnect, and then only I can be in my cave, and then some wonderful things will be happening. And that is what Patanjali meditation is all about. So I want to be in my cave for some time, totally disconnected from whatever is happening outside of the cave or even in my mind. Now we have understood, we are ready to appreciate Patanjali's a particular prescription that is called Ashtanga Yoga. But again, if you go to the streets, all kinds of yoga is there, all kinds of classes. They have different names, hot yoga, power yoga, Bikram yoga, hundreds of names are there. And there will be, you will hear the name Ashtanga Yoga also. But as I said, They are also part of Hatha Yoga. They have borrowed a lot of terms from Patanjali, but they have deviated from Patanjali Yoga. So that Ashtanga Yoga, which is in the nature of Hatha Yoga, has nothing to do with what I am talking about or what Patanjali is talking about. So when you come here, you have to forget what you have learned from outside world. Otherwise, you will get confused because the terminology, terms are same, but meanings are opposite, altogether different. So this is Patanjali's Ashtanga Yoga. Again, a Sanskrit term. The term Ashta means octa, 8. So these are 8 steps. I just speak out those 8 Sanskrit terms just for today. They are Yam, Niyam, Asana, Pranayam, Pratyahar, Dharana, Dhyan, and Samadhi. The first two, Yam and Niyam, they talk about lifestyle. How should I deal with in the world 24 by 7? That is something is not in the scope of this course. We will remove it. We all are nice people, and I assume everybody here is honest and good people, morally good life, and that is where it's important for us to be able to control our mind. If somebody is a crooked mind and this and that, then it's difficult for him to control his mind. So we assume here we have come here with very positive attitudes. So I don't have to lecture much about Yam and Niyam. Let's go straight to the practice part. And that's where there are 5 steps: asana, pranayam, pratyahara, dharana, and dhyan. The last one, samadhi, is when I am in cave for a good significant time duration, then certain magical things happen. That also I have kept it out of the purview of this course. So we will be concentrating on the 5 steps: asana, pranayam, pratyahara, dharana, and dhyan. The word dhyan is translated as meditation. So that's why this course is called Patanjali Meditation. My job is to teach you what Patanjali is teaching to attain that state of mind when we are in meditation, and I will try my best to do that. These Sanskrit terms I will not use again, so let me just quickly give you the English translation. So asan, his definition is Sthir Sukham Asanam. That means you put your body posture which is stable and comfortable. So we will adopt one of such a posture. Pranayam is a deep regulated breathing. That also I will teach you today. Pratyahar, etymologically it means disconnection from the outer world. I translate is it is instruction to my mind, and mind I will treat in this course as my secretary, as if I am chief executive officer, CEO, and he is my secretary. So of course, I should exercise my authority over that. So I will use this metaphor very often. My mind is my secretary. Sometimes I will use the metaphor mother and child also, as if the soul is the mother and the mind is the child. These are all metaphors I will use to convey certain ideas. The dhyan is meditation when I am disconnected from my mind, and I will emphasize again and again that can happen only when mind is inactive. If your car is running, you cannot disconnect from it. So only when your mind is absolutely blank, then only you disconnect, and that is what we are achieving in dhyan. So these are 5 steps, and you might have noticed that in our previous slide, why I was writing 5 terms, and that's what I am bringing it together now. This is what the 5 steps, and we say goodbye to all those 5 Sanskrit terms. Now these are the standardized terms I will be using in this course. So 5 steps, these are your cardinal principles for this course, and I am sure from today on you should pick them up, you should memorize them, because I will talk usually step number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So I expect you to know them very well. So step number 1, that corresponds to our line diagram. that in meditation I want to withdraw my consciousness inward, and my journey goes through 5 stations, namely body, breathing, outer mind, inner mind, and this is me, the soul, in my cave. And those 5 steps are: if I expect myself to be in my cave, disconnected and undisturbed by my systems and instruments, then I must put my body bundle it in a disciplined manner so that no body signal comes inside my cave. Also, I should discipline my breathing so that I am no more concerned. Of course, breathing is a non-voluntary force. It will go on by itself. But Patanjali doesn't want us to cross over breathing, because that is the right way to do this inward journey. Then I come across outer mind. I give an instruction to my mind. I instruct my secretary that, look, you calm down. I am going to disconnect from you and be in my cave, and I hope and I expect you not to disturb me. And don't even let any outside force disturb me. So that instruction to my mind is the 3rd step. But the 4th step, while I instruct my mind, I make sure that it settles down at a place doing nothing. So I will make it focus on something. So usually we will use this. We will focus the mind between the 2 eyebrows. So that will be the 4th step, which if you want, you can call it mindfulness, but I use the word focusing the mind. Now that mind is stay put outside, settled down outside of my cave, I walk alone into my cave. That once I am inside my cave, I am in meditation. So self in the cave is the meditation. That's our objective. And in this terminology of mindfulness, just to show you the contrast, Patanjali meditation insists, if you want, you can call it as mindlessness. In the sense, it's not a good term, but just want to emphasize that I am in my cave alone, disconnected from my mind. So these are the 5 steps we will be following. Now comes how to do it, how to integrate them. I must go now into my webinar room, stop sharing, so that you can also see it, and our friends who are in distant mode, they can also see it. So we are ready to learn those 5 steps, and then we will integrate them and sit for meditation. Today we are doing all in a very basic, and as we go along, we will improve upon these steps. So these are not our final steps, but we have to get started. Let's look at the step number 1, which is the body posture. So this is the simplest body posture. It has a Sanskrit name, Sukhasana. How to do it? So I will urge my friends who are in distant mode, they may take a position, if it is possible, on the floor. So the starting posture is like this. I have spread out both of my feet. Those who cannot sit like this on the floor, who must sit on the chair, I will request them a good simple chair without arm. What is a typical dining chair? That is the right kind of chair for this purpose. And you just use your best in that kind of a chair. Let's proceed further with the posture, what I call Sukhasana. Both the feet are spread out. Just naturally, in your very instinct, just fold the 2 feet in the neck, in the knee region, so that your feet are below the thighs. It's very simple. It is the simplest posture. That's why it is called a Sukhasana. The word sukh means comfortable. It's a very comfortable posture. I did not give you any guideline because I wanted you to go by instinct. I personally fold left foot inward first, then right foot, but I don't give you a guideline. You do whatever you like. This is our Sukhasan posture. But whatever posture we take slight care. Even if you are on a dining chair, the next instruction is available for you. The next instruction is try to keep your lower back, shoulders, and neck in a straight line, but not in a very stiff position. Just be relaxed. Your hands can be like your, this is what I prefer to do, but there is no guideline. You can bring your two palms together, my fingers are interlocked, or you can keep one palm above another, the right or left below, or whatever you like, or you can have two arms on the knees like this, whatever is comfortable to you. There is no hard and fast rule. So your hands can be like this, but taking care the lower back, shoulder, and neck in a straight line, but not in a very stiff position. This is to ensure our air pipe is straight, because next step number 2 is about deep breathing. If your air pipe is, not straight, it should be straight like this. If it is bent, then the flow of air will not be efficient. So this much, so much about the body posture. And also when we begin to sit for meditation, at this point I am just demonstrating each of the 5 steps. Then we will integrate them and actually put them together. So now I'm going to talk about the step number 2. But let me tell you, when I sit for meditation, I will have a slightly different posture, but you should not be disturbed. I have a different posture because that's the way I am used to since my childhood. This is a more complex posture, but I find it so nice, and I'm going to teach you in session number 3 or 4. So this is going to be my posture, but don't get upset. I am not going to keep it secret. I will pass it on to you in third or fourth session. So when you sit as doing meditation, don't be disturbed that my posture is slightly different. Let's move on to the step number 2 now. Step number 2 is deep breathing. And this also I want to show you in few simple steps, in 3 or 4 steps. In step number 1, very simple, try to focus on your head region and through the nostrils, just force out the air from the head region. It will be something like this. I think it is very simple and everybody can do it. Just forcing out the air through the nostrils. Of course, the implicit message is the breathing is done through the nostrils and not through the mouth. That is what is scientific. But of course, if it is not possible to breathe through the nostrils, then you can breathe through the mouth. Now, the same thing I will repeat again, step number 2. I will, through a jerk, I will throw out the air, breathe out through the nostrils, but now my mind is focused on the abdominal part, and this is like a balloon. So if air is thrown out, you will expect the balloon to shrink. So you exert on these muscles simultaneously when you throw out the air through the nostril. Let me do it and just observe probably my abdominal muscles, and just to give you a contrast, maybe I'm sitting like this so that you can see the movement here. I will clap it, it means I am doing the breathe out through the nostrils as a jerk, and just observe my abdominal muscles. Here I do. Very simple. Let all of us do together a simple breathe out in a jerk mode through the nostrils, but ensuring that your abdominal muscles shrink inward. I hope it is happening well. It was so simple. Now in step number 3, we will do the same thing but in an elongated manner. Let me demonstrate it first. So now I will do a kind of a deep breathe out. You will see that my abdomen will be shrinking inward, and if somebody was to be here, if you put your finger ahead of my nostrils, air will be passing out. So air will flow out, and in that duration, the abdomen will shrink inward. Let me show you. Deep breathe out. So for this duration, air was coming out. I was focused on abdomen. So the air from abdomen was being drawn out through the nostrils. So you don't have to wave your hand like this, but let us do it together. Deep breathe out. I hope it is happening. Should not be a problem. When I teach individually, I have noticed almost everybody is able to do it, and that should not. Now the step number 4, last step, sorry, within the step number 2, we are doing step number 4. So this will be one full cycle. Deep breathe out when abdomen is shrinking inward, followed by deep breathe in, and obviously then abdomen will be expanding outward. Let's do one full cycle. Deep breathe out. Breathe in. So all this is very natural. When we do breathe out, the shoulders are bending forward. When we do breathe in, shoulders are going backward. All this is very natural, and actually whole meditation is an attempt to be very natural. And why we are doing abdominal breathing? It's very simple. As a small child, we were all breathing abdominally, diaphragmatic breathing. Now, as we have grown up, because of the stressful life, our breathing has become short. Our diaphragm is almost lying dead, and air is such a vital substance, freely available, but we are not supplying adequately to the body. And believe me, in this course, this will be emphasized to a good extent. And I tell you, this is 50% problem of all the body health related problems. If your breathing gets deep like this, 24/7, I will say you will not have much of a reason to visit a doctor. This is so important, and we'll emphasize this point quite a few times in this course. This was step number 2, deep breathing. Now we are in step number 3, instruction to mind. As soon as our deep breathing ends, I will urge all of you, we are doing it together. I will say, let us recite a sound. Patanjali gives us a simple sound. The sound is OM, Om. So if I speak out this is simple, natural, monosyllable sound, Om. It begins from the throat and ends up in the lips. So it's one syllable, but it excites my entire vocal cord. That is the scientific beauty of this sound. Then Patanjali has modified it slightly. So to make it slightly more greater impact, because this is the sound I will use to communicate to my mind. So now I am instructing my mind that I expect him to calm down so that I can end up in my cave. So this is the code word I will be using. Oh. But now we'll slightly elongate the vowel. Instead of the throat, it begins from the navel area. If I begin from the throat, it is Om. Now look at the contrast. Now I begin from the navel area. Om. So that is the right way to communicate to my secretary. When I say this, I am now training my mind, tuning my mind when I say this, I expect him to calm down. And with practice, one day it will come in your life, you will just say, oh, and you will be in deep meditation. That is the kind of practice we are starting off. So let's recite this sound together so that you all are able to do it. Let's do it together. Om. Om. So just because we are doing it together, we will count it 5 times, the volume diminishing gradually to instruct our mind that I expect him to calm down so that I can disconnect from him, go into my cave. This is step number 3. Now we are in step number 4. As soon as the sound is over, the 5th, focus your mind between the 2 eyebrows. As if this is the location outside of my cave, I expect my secretary to settle down. Doing nothing, you just sit on your stool, doing nothing. So soon after the sound is over, step number 4, focus your mind between the 2 eyebrows for half a minute or so. You will be confident your mind is sitting there doing nothing. And then you are ready to walk into the cave. That will be our meditation. What I will do is again use a metaphor. So you have already made your mind settle down here between the 2 eyebrows. Now you observe, you are alone. Observe in your forehead. It's like an endless sky. You just walk alone into the sky, step by step. And that's where you end up in your cave. Nothing is happening. That is our step number 5. Just one word of caution there. When you are in meditation, after a while, maybe your mind is sending in a thought wave. It's like your secretary is knocking at the door of the cave. But be again very watchful. You don't want to entertain the thought wave. Once you get into a thought wave, you are no more in meditation. So again, you use that sound instruction. Mentally, you again instruct your mind. Oh. So whenever you see a thought wave coming in, you repel it with that instruction. Oh. So there will be a kind of a tug of war. No problem. That's what the start of meditation practice. We are ready, and now it is 6:52 in my clock here. We are doing about 10 minutes of meditation. It was my fault. We started about 4 to 5 minutes late, but finally everything is fine. I am setting an alarm for about just 10 minutes alarm. Three minutes past 7. And after that, 1 or 2 minutes, our first session will end. Sorry, we are taking 5 minutes extra today. But because we started 5 minutes extra, that was my fault. So my apologies for that. Let's. So I have taken my posture, which is slightly complex, but is wonderful. You can see I can sit very straight on that for a long time. So that's the beauty of that. But you have taken your posture of Sukhasana. Just shake away any kind of stiffness from your neck region or shoulder or arms. You just want to feel good. Consider it as an important appointment. Okay, we are all fresh for this journey. Now we are ready for a couple of minutes of deep breathing with abdominal diaphragmatic breathing. So we'll do it together. Deep breathe out. Deep breathe in. Breathe out. 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 Breathe in. One more last cycle. Breathe out. Breathe in. That was our step number 2, deep breathing. Now we are about to move on to step number 3, instructing our mind with that sound. We will recite it 5 times together. As soon as that step is over, after the 5th time, focus your mind between the 2 eyebrows for half a minute or so. Insist that your mind is settled there, you are confident, and that's where you disconnect from your mind. Walk into the sky that you observe in your forehead. You are in meditation. If a thought wave is likely to stag you, again instruct your mind mentally reciting Om. Now begins the real meditation. Let's recite this sound 5 times together. Om. We can gradually open our eyes, not too abruptly, but gradually. We are towards the end of the course session. Just a couple of slides. I want you to remember those 5 steps so that, body posture, deep breathing was abdominal diaphragmatic breathing for a couple of minutes. Instruction to mind, code word is Om with vowels slightly longish, focusing the mind between two eyebrows, and then finally I end up in the cave. That is my meditation. In a day or so, you will get the recording, the link for the YouTube recording of all the entire session. So, if you have missed out something, you can see that there. And just, I think I have one. Yeah, okay. That's all. I wanted you to remember these 5 steps. Now, see you next week. Have a good time. Bye.